Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Karen Mikowski, aka Butterfly Karen, and welcome. So this is literally my final analysis on the Jay Slater case. I was just sort of waiting for the UK autopsy reports to come through and their sort of stance on their findings, which are pretty much the same as Tenerife Police. So this is where I'm going to close out my investigation because there's nothing more to be had from it. So stick around and watch what I think, my final stance and analysis on Jay Slater case. Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Karen Mikowski, aka Butterfly Karen. Welcome. I'm also the leading investigator on any of my cases, parapsychology and paranormal investigations. Welcome. Okay, so today is the 5th of July. Is it July? Oh my God. No, it's not. It's August. Oh God. Just can't. It's flying by. Oh, it's the 5th of August, 2024. Oh la la. Ooh la la. So anyway, it's the 5th of August. It's an update to the Jay Slater case. Ooh la la. I hope I'm not going to have one of those chats where there's going to be a lingering energy. It doesn't really matter. Now, an update. So basically, his parents have now had, obviously he's been flown home, but his parents have had another autopsy done on him from the UK officials, and they've pretty much done their investigation too, just to figure out, was there more to it? There isn't. They pretty much confirmed the same thing as the Tenerife Police, right? It was a tragic accident, and I wanted to wait for this one because I wanted to sort of wait for the autopsy results. I mean, I know we sort of got a little information from the Tenerife Police, but I wanted the UK's authorities, I wanted to wait and hear about their sort of findings. And it's exactly what I thought it would be. He just fell. He slipped. He was slipping. He fell. I want to discuss it because I want to sort of correlate it to my sort of investigation. But he fell. He suffered traumatic head injury, broken bones. He fell into a ravine. And it's really, really sad, but that was the reality of it. Now, they did state he would have died instantly on impact. That's, for me, for what I do as a parapsychological investigator, connecting to his energy, I had to sort of, it's right, he did die quickly, but I feel like he was unconscious, but there was a period of him still being alive, but not for long. And even that, and that's all to do with what I was sort of seeing. Now, I'll come to that in a moment. But it's really tragic that this is the findings. This is it. It's not going to change, right? It is not going to make all of the online conspiracy theories true. It's not going to make any of that true. It's not going to change. These people online can continue with this, milking this case for views and likes and monetary gain. That's all they're doing it for. Keeping it going, keeping something going that's not even true. And that is the problem with today's society, especially on social media. The lack of critical thinking and lack of logic and reason is absolutely apparent, and it's very obvious. You can see it, and it's embarrassing. It's become an embarrassing state of affairs, really. I mean, people are still buying into this whole, well, there's got to be more to it. He could have been placed there. I don't know. So, no, it's not logically possible. You've got to remember where he was found. That's a trek to drag a so-called body, right? It's not logical. I know people want it to be something it's not, but it's not going to be. It's not possible where he was found. The way they would have had to, where he was found as well, he would have had to have been the hiking trek in the night. Secondly, to do that, you'd have to stay off the radar. So you're going to do it at nighttime, right? You can't see anything. You don't know where you're going. These criminals, right? Whatever. I'm pretty sure they're out there. I mean, we do know the Canary Islands are full of. They do have crime syndicate. They do have crime gangs there. They do have. Well, they do. It's criminality. It's not just Tenerife. It's not just the Canary Islands. There's underworlds of criminals and stuff like this going on. Sex trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking. It's all there, but it's in every single country. It's not just Tenerife. But everybody wants to focus on that. But people don't want to focus on the human slavery and human trafficking or things like that. They don't want to focus their energy there. They just want to focus it on conspiracy theories. It's really pathetic that this is where we're at. In the 21st century, modern so-called progressive society where we're backwards. We're not evolving correctly because this is all we cannot hold on to. Like, it's got to be something more. No, it doesn't. It's not even that complex. Okay, so he went to rave for a few, he went to go raving and got high and took ecstasy, whatever. Most of those people do when they go to those sort of clubs, right? He was hanging out with like other druggies. That's what they are. Let's not sugarcoat what they are, right? He's hanging out with like people with criminal records. Who doesn't know somebody that hasn't got a rap sheet these days? Like, I can like every single person I've ever associated with got a freaking rap sheet in the past and probably like jail time and everything, but I don't judge people like that. I just judge them based on their basically who they are and the character. The moment they show their true character and it's not of my standard, because I have standards, I'm going to get rid of them. It's as simple as that. It's based on their human behavior. Now, this is the problem in society. This human behavior that we've got online right now is so unbelievably unhinged. I mean, what the online trolls, absolutely unhinged minds online, those trolls did to his family was absolutely disgusting. You don't realize, but that family was traumatized by the loss of their son. And all online silly little spoofs and people that have got involved in this whole conspiracy have re-traumatized that family over and over again with zero accountability. They don't care. That's disgusting. That is the disgusting nature of human behavior today in society. And you think that's evolving. No, it's not. Now, so the logic behind being able to sort of like take his body up there and dump it, no, that makes not logical sense because of where he was. No, it's not possible. And I didn't see that. I didn't feel that. Now, he slipped. I know people want more. Look, the only thing his friends did, his friends failed him, right? By leaving him alone, going against the friendship sort of code. You go out together, you go home together. That's where they failed. They failed him that. They didn't do anything criminal. They didn't break the law. They didn't set him up. They didn't do any of that conspiracy crap that's online. They didn't do any of that. They just left. He was in a state. They should have just taken him home, back to the apartment, right? But they didn't, because of their own selfish needs and what they were kind of doing and that's just the way it was. I'm tired. I'm not dancing anymore. Or they're probably getting laid. That's kind of what you do at that age. And but that's where they failed. And by the time they realized he was missing, and they needed to find him, was too late. But they failed in the moment they left him alone. So that's the guilt they're going to have to live with. Now, if they're involved in like drug dealing and stuff like that, that's on them. That's whatever will be, you know. But that still didn't play a part in Jay's demise at all. His past is irrelevant. I know people like to bring up his past and go, oh, he deserved this. No human deserves that. It's not. His past is irrelevant. His present, like people's present, what they do, their choices, are basically the people's responsibility. Whatever you do, there will be an accountability for it. You will have to pay the price for it. But that doesn't mean you did anything wrong, apart from go on holiday, his first holiday abroad, have a really good time. And it ended tragically, like it ends tragically for millions of people all around the world all the time. People get lost all the time. People have shocking accidents all the time, freak accidents. It happens every single day. This was just one of those, but it was so blown out of proportion and made into something it wasn't even about that. So, but the fact that people think it's okay to go around trying to ruin people's lives because they've heard something on the internet and ran with that, went right down that rabbit hole, and instead of sticking with logic and reason first, which is, that is literally missing from society right now. Zero critical thinking, but they don't teach that anymore anyway. So what do you expect? When you take that from out of the, educational curriculum, what do you expect from a society of minds of not even logically enough to think like, hang on a minute, could this just be an accident? They don't want to think like that. They want to think, oh my God, it's got to be something else, because they watch too many movies. They watch too many crime series. They watch too much crap. They are too entertained from the entertainment industry. And they truly believe that's how it really is. It was a horrible accident. Now, I'm going to go back now. I've got the sort of understanding of where we are with the UK authorities, and their stance is exactly the same as Tenerife police. Again, once I was connected to Jay, I could see him walking and slipping, and he was going down into what looked like a valley, but and I could see the ravine. And he was off track. I already stated that. Again, I knew he was injured. I'm pretty sure there was some broken bones down the right side of him. And I knew there was head injuries because I could feel everything. Once I was connected to his energy frequency, I could feel everything. It's not nice, but I knew he'd suffered a horrific head injury from a bloody fall into a ravine. That's exactly what it was. So it's just so sad. But then there was a period, there was a window where I felt like he was still hanging on. Now, even if he was unconscious, it could have been still alive, but unconscious. And that's why I felt like if he was going to be found alive, it would have to be like immediately, because it was after 48 hours and he was hanging on. And I don't feel like he was conscious though. So, but yeah, the fall and the head injury was literally like the demise. And then I knew he was dying because his energy was in and out. I could see the darkness and the light and the emotions of how a soul leaves its physical vehicle at death. That's kind of how it happens. There's a fight. That's what it felt like too. Every time I was sort of seeing the darkness, it was like, okay, he's leaving. But then it's like his soul was fighting. So I was sort of seeing the light again. So it was in and out, and then it was in waves, and then it just went dark. Because that's when his soul finally left his vehicle. But I also knew he already passed away anyway, because he had a loved one, some sort of father figure or grandfather figure, or there was an ancestor, a male energy, one that helped guide me to him anyway, but was with him until he left. So that he was with him to collect his soul, to help transition him. So, but it's a lesson to learn that freak accidents and these things can happen anytime, anywhere, to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, how rich you are, how famous you are. It does not matter who you are. Tragic accidents happen every single day and can happen to anybody. So just be very careful of your surroundings and just be aware of your actions and what you're doing, what you're getting involved in. Now, again, whether he was involved in criminal activity, that was not the reason he passed away. He felt it was tragic. He was lost. I could understand what he was trying to do. He was just seeing the ocean and thinking, well, that could be a shortcut. But he had no idea about the terrain he was on. He had no idea about the elements, true elements of how they can affect your health and well-being and everything. Had he just stuck with the road, like I said, there would have been human activity. Would have absolutely, and apparently there's a huge hiking scene up there. So people go hiking very early in the morning. Yeah, okay. But I can still miss people. That is a vast area terrain, right? So, but then again, had they just stayed on the road, he would have come across a car. But he wasn't thinking logically. He wasn't thinking logically because he was still under the influence and he was dehydrated, right? He wasn't thinking clearly. And that's usually how tragic accidents happen all the time, is that lack of clear thinking. And then he probably just thought, oh, I'm not going to wait for the bus, because he probably didn't truly understand that he didn't really have to wait long, but he just, oh, you know what, I'll go and take a little trek. And then probably saw the ocean and thought, well, if I walk down the road, if I stick with the road, that's going to take me ages to walk down. Like, but I can see the ocean, so if I just go that way, I can probably just get there and then walk on the beach and find that's not how that was not realistic. But he didn't know that because he didn't understand. It would have taken him hours to get from point A to B to the ocean. And he didn't understand the terrain he was walking on and cliff tops and everything, and how volatile that terrain was. Because when I was seeing him, I was seeing him slipping and everything, constantly slipping. Like, he lost his footing a few times because the terrain was that volatile. It was not stable. So it was inevitable he was going to take a huge fall at some point, because he didn't understand where he was, and he was well and truly off the hiking path. I even said, it's like he came off, like there would have been hiking paths, right? But he came off that. I already knew he came off path. And once you come off path and you don't stick to the routes that are allocated for hikers, you're going to end up in trouble. These things happen every day. So there's lessons to be learned from this. But the greatest lesson to learn from all of this is you've got to get a grip on your psychologies when it comes to social media and online behavior and the internet, and what you think, how you're conducting yourself, and the way you're basically trying to destroy people's lives through conspiracy theories and going to the most extremes without sticking with basic logic and thinking that's okay. That's not okay at all. But this is what you're programmed to do. You are literally systemized and programmed people, and it really shows. Those that are not think differently, act differently, do things differently. Now, it's the crazy conspiracy hype right now has not even slowed down. I'm still coming across videos of people, content creators, still playing this criminal aspect, criminal angle. They still can't accept, even from the UK authorities that did a second autopsy and found exactly the same thing, the same findings. They cannot accept that because that's not going to get them views and monetization, that crap. It's not going to let them be monetized. They're not going to make much money from, okay, we were wrong. Nobody likes to admit they were wrong. These people are not going to go, they're not going to go on that lane at all. They're not going to play the right lane. They are going to stick with the conspiracies and keep making something that's not even true. They can play that all, but eventually it's going to die out because it's not true. You cannot make truth untrue. So I think at this point you just need to let Jay's family grieve now, and I understand exactly why they wanted a second opinion and a second autopsy. I would too if it was my loved one. But now it's for them to sort of deal with the grieving process now and really start a different journey, which is really sad. And their life goes on without Jay now. But this can happen to anybody and any family. Take a lesson. This could happen to you, and the whole of the world on the internet can turn on you. That's how unhinged and delusional people are today. That's not a progressive, evolved society at all. So is that whole saying, don't believe everything you see, watch and hear on the internet, because most of it is not true. But people like to think it's true. Here's the reality. Any person or persons that truly need to jump on a bandwagon of absolute extreme craziness, they absolutely have nothing going on in their lives. They've got probably no hobbies. They've got no interests. They probably spend far too much time on the internet anyway, and really just need to get a life. Because if you get a life, you're so distracted by the fake reality of the internet. And going into that fake reality that's not real is going to take you down a rabbit hole of not being able to live a functioning life. I'm going to just sort of end my update. I feel really bad for Jay Slater's family. I'll find a way to get hold of Debbie at some point directly, and I want to send her the link to my investigation, because I feel like there was a few because I was connected to him, I feel like there was a few messages that would resonate from him for her or for the family. But yeah, I mean, I if only to just help with the grieving process. So, but that's where I'm going to end my updates on the Jay Slater case. I just wanted the findings for the UK autopsy results because I knew they were going to do that. And that's pretty much it. There's no more to be had from this. So I'm going to leave that there. Look, you've got to use your discernment when it comes to the internet. And there's not a lot of that going on right now. So just be careful what you're getting so engrossed in online, and be careful what you truly believe in, because most of it's not true. So other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you all again very soon.